I'm a 36-year-old man, and I've been with my wife 35F for 17 years. We have 3 kids together. I've always valued monogamy and staying loyal. Over the years, I had opportunities to cheat, but never acted on them because I was genuinely happy with her. Sadly, I can't say she felt the same way. This isn't her first betrayal. Years ago, she was involved in an on-and-off affair with a married co-worker that lasted for a few years. Later, while visiting family out of state, she hooked up with her ex. Both times I ended things with her, but eventually, I forgave her because I didn't want our children to grow up in a broken family like I did. I told myself we were young, people make mistakes, and maybe we could rebuild. For a while, it seemed like we did. The last 4 years were calm, and I thought we'd finally reached a stable place. I worked hard to move past it and trust her again. But 2 months ago, everything collapsed. My best friend's wife sent me messages with proof screenshots showing my wife was having an affair with him. They weren't just flirting, they were sneaking off to hotels, meeting during lunch breaks, even planning a weekend trip. When I confronted them, neither of them tried to deny it. Her excuse? She said she felt ignored, envied how my friend treated his wife, and let things get out of hand. She begged me to forgive her and swore she'd do anything to save the marriage. She even offered me a hall pass to see other women as long as I came home to her. To me, that's not a real marriage. The truth is, I don't love her the way I once did. At this point, it feels like I'm staying out of habit and because of the kids, not because of love. She's crossed the line too many times. I can't trust her, and her words mean nothing anymore. Right now, we're still living in the same house for financial reasons and the kids. She insists that we shouldn't break the family apart, but I believe staying together in this toxic situation will hurt the kids more than a divorce. To be clear, in not staying with her, I know this marriage is finished. What I don't know is how to move forward legally and in terms of custody. I've never dealt with divorce, lawyers, custody, or dividing assets, and it feels overwhelming. I do have plenty of evidence of her cheating, so I'm not worried about her trying to twist the story. But as a dad, I'm still afraid of how things might go in court. Mentally, I'm drained, but I know I need to figure this out for myself and for my kids.
I went on a 3-week work trip. Husband said, "I'll stay home, play some games, order pizza." He's 41. I thought, he's an adult, he'll survive. Spoiler, he did not. Day 2. He decided to become a grill master. We don't own a grill. Solution. He stacked 3 baking sheets, poured lighter fluid on them, and lit it up. Fire alarm went off for 40 minutes. The oven still smells like a gas station. Week 1, he discovered minimalism. Threw out half of our dishes. Left us with 2 bowls, 1 salad bowl, 1 dog bowl. Yes, we now eat from the dogs. Minimalism, baby. Diet. 20 frozen burritos. That's it. By week 2, he started eating them half frozen. Quote, "It's basically a cold wrap. Saves electricity." At this point, I'm not sure if he said it, or if the burrito spoke through him. Clothing. Laundry. Cancelled. He rotated between 2 pairs of shorts, which have now evolved into some hardened artifact. Even the dog growls at them. Honestly, same. Grand finale. I came home last night, Hayes shirtless, playing a $9 Amazon recorder, saying Mozart actually slaps. The room smelled like burnt plastic and ranch dressing. That night, he whispered in his sleep, "I am the burrito." The dog has moved into the bathtub and refuses negotiations. And now I'm sitting in a calf, sipping my coffee like it's holy water, thinking, cheating would have been easier to clean up.
My tradition ended my relationship and saved me. For years ago, I lost my younger brother. He fought cancer until the very end, and ever since, I've dedicated 1 day a year just to him. On his death anniversary, I take the day off, donate blood, visit his grave, and in the evening, I watch his favorite movie. It's my way of being with him, even if only for a little while. Yesterday, my boyfriend, M29, invited me to have lunch with his dad. I knew I couldn't. That day is never about restaurants or social events. I explained. But what I heard back was, "You can donate blood another time." I have a tradition of having lunch with my dad. You're letting me down. Later that evening, while I was watching my brother's movie, he texted again, "Are you coming?" I repeated no and suggested another day. His reply? Accusations of me being lazy, selfish, and embarrassing him. And then silence. He blocked me everywhere. Social media, WhatsApp, everything. Even his best friend unfollowed me. And you know what? I'm not sad. I realized that if my most sacred, personal day was just laziness to him, then years of misunderstanding and misery were waiting for me. My tradition didn't break the relationship. It protected me from it.
I caught my boyfriend cheating, and I don't even know how to process it. Story related, this still doesn't feel real. We've been together for almost 3 years. I genuinely thought he was the one. We talked about moving in together, even getting a dog. Everything felt secure, or at least, I thought it was. Over the past month or so, something started to feel off. He was pulling away, but when I asked him what was wrong, he'd say things like just stressed or you're overthinking again. Then Friday night happened. He told me he was going out with co-workers for a birthday thing, nothing suspicious at first. But around 9 p.m., I got this weird gut feeling. You know, the kind where your chest just tightens and your brain starts running through scenarios you wish you could ignore. So I did something I've never done before. I checked his location. He forgot he shared it with me during a trip a few months ago. He wasn't at a restaurant. He wasn't at a bar. He was at her apartment. I recognized the address. A girl he once said was just a friend from work. The one he told me not to worry about. I sat in my car outside her building for 45 minutes. I watched him walk out and around. He didn't look guilty. He didn't even look surprised to see me. He just froze. She came out behind him wearing his hoodie. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just asked, "How long?" He said nothing. I got in my car and drove off. We haven't spoken since. He's been texting non-stop, trying to explain, asking to talk. But I don't even know what he'd say. I don't know if I'm more heartbroken or numb. How do you come back from this? I keep thinking about all the memories, all the little moments, and wondering which ones were fake. I feel stupid. I feel angry. I feel empty. If you've been through this, how did you even begin to move on? I still miss my ex every day, but I'm proud of what we became. Story related, I 25F, and my ex 27 meters came from middle-class families. Back then, we weren't rich, but we had dreams, passions, and each other. I always wanted to be your best friend and partner in motivating you, supporting you, loving your passions. I never judged your family's struggles. I just wanted to stand by you. Others used to say we were the best couple, and honestly, I think it was true. We celebrated the little things, staying up late talking about our dreams, cheering each other on when life got tough. Small victories we turned into huge celebrations for ourselves. Now, we're not together. We've achieved what we wanted individually and together, but the reality is we don't share our lives anymore. I still remember what we used to be, and I will always miss the journey we had. Some relationships aren't meant to last forever, but they shape you into someone stronger, kinder, and more capable of loving fully.
I don't think he'll ever recover from what I saw that night. It happened a few months ago, but the memory still replays in my head every single night when I try to sleep. I was at a friend's house party. My boyfriend had come along, and so had my best friend. We'd all been drinking a little, laughing, playing games. At some point, I got tired and decided to lie down in one of the guest rooms. I remember feeling safe because my two favorite people in the world were just outside. When I woke up, it was still dark. The music had died down, and the house was quiet. I turned over, expecting to see nothing but the wall. But instead, right there, just a few feet away from me on the floor, were my boyfriend and my best friend. Together. Naked. At first, I thought maybe I was dreaming. My brain couldn't process it. But then I heard it. The sound of them breathing, tangled up in each other, asleep after doing the one thing I never thought either of them was capable of. I froze. My body went cold. I didn't even cry at first, I just laid there, paralyzed, staring at the ceiling. realizing in a single moment that the two people I trusted most had broken me in the most disgusting way possible. The next morning, I left without saying a word. They tried to reach out later. Excuses, apologies, tears, but I can't unsee it. I can't unhear it. Every time I close my eyes, I'm back in that room, suffocating on the betrayal. I lost my boyfriend and my best friend in one night. But worse, I lost the part of myself that trusted so easily. And I don't think that's ever coming back. My tote bag exploded on the bus and strangers rebuilt me in 3 stops. I was on a bus after work when the strap on my tote snapped and my day hit the floor. Wallet, tampons, a glass jar of soup, my spare flats. The jar cracked and soup slid toward the driver like it had somewhere to be. I froze. The bus did that collective inhale. A woman in scrubs blocked the stream with her lunch container. A teenager swept my stuff into his hoodie. The guy with paint under his nails pulled blue tape from a pouch and wrapped my strap like a pit stop. Napkins moved row to row. The driver eased to the curb and passed me a trash bag, calm. For 3 stops we were a tiny assembly line. By my stop the mess was gone and my bag held together. People gave me a clap. I laughed so hard I almost cried and stepped into the evening feeling steadier than I had all week. You ever watch strangers build a team around you in 10 seconds?
My wife had to be stopped. My wife, Sarah, has a very singular vision when it comes to her boxing. She's been training for a year now, with her sights set on becoming a competitive fighter. The problem is, she refuses to learn any move except for the jab. Just the jab. She drill it for hours, throwing it with a speed and ferocity that's both impressive and, as I can attest, painful. I am, you see, her designated punching bag. Every evening, I pull on a pair of oversized boxing gloves and a very, very old helmet and stand in the middle of our living room. Our dog, a beagle mix named Buster, usually watches from the couch with a look of profound confusion. The routine is always the same. I hold up my gloves, and she just starts jabbing. It's a relentless, rhythmic patter of leather against leather. I've tried to get her to practice other things. What about a hook? I'll ask, trying to show her how to pivot. Or an uppercut. I'll even suggest a simple slip, but she just shakes her head and goes back to her jabs. Why not try a different punch? I finally asked her the other day, my nose stinging from a particularly sharp jab that had found its way past my helmet. She paused for a moment, sweat dripping from her brow, and looked at me with an intensity I've only ever seen when she's trying to find the last piece of a puzzle. Vega, she said, her voice firm. From Street Fighter Turbo. I blinked. Vega, the guy with the claw and the mask. He's a boxer now. No, she said, shaking her head impatiently. Not Vega. The boxer. The guy with the red gloves. It took me a second to figure it out. Oh, you mean Balrog? I said, a slow realization dawning on me. Balrog, the Mike Tyson-inspired boxer from the game. All he ever did was throw a powerful one-two punch, mostly just a straight. He was a brute force character, and she had apparently taken his simplistic style to heart. I couldn't help but sigh. So you're modeling your entire competitive boxing career on a video game character that only throws a few punches. The best ones, she replied, her eyes gleaming. He was a champion, wasn't he? I had to give her that. Balrog was a champion in the game's lore, but I couldn't help but wonder how that would translate to a real-life boxing ring. What would a trainer even say to her? Okay, now for your defense, you'll need to learn to jab. And for your offense, you'll need to jab. And to counter, you'll need to jab harder. My own curiosity got the better of me. In an attempt to mix things up, I tried to spice up our practice. I put my gloves up, but then I tried to duck under one of her jabs, mimicking a move from Ru, the karate master. My wife stopped dead in her tracks. Her eyes narrowed. What was that? She asked, her voice low and dangerous. Just a slip, I said, a bit nervously. It's what they do in boxing. You know, to avoid a punch. I am a boxer, she declared, not some Hadouken throwing karate kid. Never do that again. She looked genuinely offended, as if I had insulted her entire lineage. Later, I tried a high kick, just to see what would happen. A mistake, in retrospect. She just stood there, staring at me with a look of pure disdain. Do you see a button for kicking on my boxing gloves? She asked, her voice dripping with sarcasm. No, because I'm a boxer. Now, get ready. So now I stand there, night after night, as my wife, the one-punch wonder, hones her craft. I have bruises on top of bruises, but I can't say I'm not proud of her. Her dedication is remarkable, even if her technique is a bit narrow. She's got a jab that could knock a professional fighter back a step, and she's not afraid to use it. Sometimes I wonder if she's secretly planning on adding a right cross to her repertoire, but then I remember her inspiration, the one-dimensional Balrog, and I know, with a weary certainty, that the jab is all there will ever be. What do you think will happen when she finally gets in the ring with a real opponent?